Do you have beef with the Big Hash?
Um, I wouldn't say personal beef, not on my side. I think it's gotten personal to him as of late. It started off from, I've always had love for Hash, like since I knew him, since prior to him growing up, he used to chill a lot with my DJ. My DJ actually like helped him out a lot, and he brought him over to our house where we stayed at. He used to come record by us. We just tried to like put him onto different shows, everything. He was actually gonna join our team, Never Broke. And then he went off and did his own thing, which is cool. Even with Ricky, he went off, did his own thing. He went to his own label. And everything was cool. We've always had a good relationship. We've always like linked up. We actually planned to do a collab tape this year.
Yeah.
Asked him like, let's do this thing, man. I think it'll be great. And then he had dropped that song, right?
Yeah.
Off the tape. Where he had called me out sort of for the cypher thing. So I didn't take it personally because he had called me prior to him dropping and he was like, yo, I'm gonna do this. And I was just like, cool, let's go, do it. And then I sort of told Nav about it, which is my manager. And he kind of just had his other thoughts about it. He didn't see it as being as playful as Hash intended, you know. But I didn't take it personally because I don't take those things personally, you know. It's quite petty things. But we just thought like it's the spirit of hip hop. If Hash is gonna call me out on the song publicly to everybody else, I gotta do the same thing. I gotta respond. So we were planning to drop a song that I'd recorded already. And then I just added in those last four bars about Hash in one of the verses, just to address what he had said.
Yeah.
And then from there, that was the last time we had spoken, actually. I haven't spoken to him since. And from there, obviously, we got into the beef and online and everything, but it was still like playful. Like we were just going at each other on bars. I think it got a bit weird when he sort of made it a racial thing because I think he knew what he was doing. And he knew how he was going to be able to create propaganda around that and how he was going to be able to like sort of, I wouldn't say manipulate the public, but definitely create propaganda around it because the whole thing was, the reason the Big Hash's name is the Big Hash is because in high school, he got made fun of for having big ears and big feet. Yeah. So that's always been a thing that like people sort of jab at him at. So obviously hip hop culture is this song. I thought to jab at him about the big ears. So I just emphasized the size of his ears. And he made sure to like go on Twitter and make it seem like it was a racial thing. When he knows good and well it's not a racial thing, it's because he has big ears. He's been told about it his whole life. It's something that's very conscious in his head. So I know for a fact he did that to like twist it and twist everyone on me, which I think is a very like, I think it's a very nasty thing to do because it's such a big problem. It's not a personal thing. It's such a big problem that affects so many people. It affects the world. It's something that we're dealing with in the world. It's one of the biggest problems, honestly. So for him to go that route, I just think it was very like distasteful. But I still never took it personally. You know, we carried on following each other after, and then I made a story the other day, like a funny story about I saw these big earphones at Chinatown, and I made like a video and I said, "Hash, come get these." They just and then. But I tagged him and I put a laughing face in the heart, you know, like I love you, boy. Like it's just a fun thing. Like I'll do it to my friends.
Yeah.
And he didn't like that. He unfollowed me. He made like a story saying he doesn't have time for games or whatever. But I still follow him. Like I said, I like Hash. I'm a fan of his music. I've always had love for him. I just know he has his own differences, you know. He has his own differences in life. He has his own viewpoints. I've always tried to sort of like accommodate him, but he's a very hard guy to accommodate. But I've always had love for him. I know it's not his fault the way he thinks and the way he is and what he's been through in his life. So I don't take it personally. I know it's just, yeah, that's how it is. But nah, I'm good with him personally.
All right, so.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking about like what you just touched on, do you think that South African hip hop industry has space for like a beef, so to speak? I mean, and when you consider like our history, you know, when you consider, for example, like the AKA and Casper thing that is going on 10 years now, you know, do you think that we do have sort of like a platform to accommodate sort of like that contention between two artists for the betterment of the culture?
For sure. What I would say, I think the problem is that people love beef. They honestly love it. They love negativity and they love grabbing onto things that make things look bad and dramatic. They love it. But then when it suits them to say they don't love it, they like doing that as well. So it's just that they're not inconsistent in what they pick. You know, one day a human could be feeling an emotion of anger and they'll gravitate towards this beef and they'll enjoy it. One day they'll suddenly watch a movie by Tyler Perry and get really happy. Or like, you know, just like a movie that like makes you feel good about yourself, you know. I watched Tyler Perry the other day, that's what I'm saying that. So, you know, you might watch a movie and you change your ideas about life, and now you're like, no, people shouldn't beef. But then they're angry the next day and they want us to beef again. So it's just, I think people don't really have themselves figured out, and they project that onto us. So the one day they'll tell us, come on guys, no beef, that's not the answer. The next day they'll say it is the answer. It's just like, people are very confused. They're the ones with a lot of issues, but they like to project it onto us because we're the ones in the spotlight. And then it just becomes a whole. And it's just the way it's always going to be. I don't think that we can change that. Humans go through their emotions. They don't even realize it themselves. So it's just the way of the world. But I think there's definitely space for beef. There will always be. People love it. As much as I like to say they don't, they love it.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Jay, I really, really appreciate your music, like I said, you know, and I think last year you really touched me, you know, Flower Child, my God. That is one, like my ultimate J Molley song now, you know. And I love the fact that it sounds carefree, it sounds upbeat, but you know, the lyrical content is quite deep, it's quite introspective. I'm interested to know, between dropping Flower Child and going through, you know, this journey of self-introspection up until now, what are some of the big lessons that you've learned?
Wow. I went through so much. It's even hard to explain, especially this year while I was creating this tape. Just through my own journey, and what I thought my spiritual journey was, you know, through my discovery of all the things I found out about life and about philosophy, spirituality, science, everything. It's been a long journey. You know, you read one book and suddenly you think you'll have it figured out. And, you know, you're on that for a week and then you have another question that opposes that belief and then suddenly you're trying to figure it out again. So that was a lot of that, just reading new books, finding out new things about life and the real truths behind so many things. What I would say I've really learned the most is, I don't know, but it's not really like trust your own mind. Your own mind can be very deceiving in so many ways. It can, when you really understand how the mind works psychologically and everything, you can see how many things it does and how it tries to grasp onto so many different things and so many things we say and we act as people. You don't have any self-awareness. We don't even know what we're talking about half the time. We have so many opinions that are really not even our own. And most people don't even dive into that. They stay with their opinions that they've learned from their parents, that their parents have learned from their parents. And everyone's living in like an 18th century, in the 21st century. We all have these crazy ideas of how we should act and how we should do things. And I think that's the biggest problem with people. And something that I've learned for myself is just to question all your beliefs, question all your thoughts, question all your opinions, all your emotions. It's the only way you can truly have a realistic idea of how the world operates and how you should move forward.
Bam.
A deep answer.
Damn, okay. Man, I'm excited for All Is Fair in Love and War. I'm super excited for the work that you're doing. Just keep shining, stay dope, and all the best, eh? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a very nice interview. Thank you so much.
All right, so